Hi, everyone. It is Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it's Tangent Tuesday. But today is an extra special day because this is our new moon ritual. So our new moon hits tomorrow, but I always do the closest tangent Tuesday to the new moon so that we can ask questions of the tarot. I'll do about 10 live questions. Hi, Chris. Good morning. As you all join me on either Instagram or YouTube, just say hi. Hi, Jen. Hi, Ashley, so that the feed gets rolling, which is nice because there is a little bit of a delay on both of them, but let's make sure I can see them. We've got a little recap or a capping of the current astrology to start off with. Then we'll head into Unicorn Bingo to really look at where this new moon sits in your personal natal chart. Good morning, Shauna and Paula. And then at the end of the hour, I will do up to about 10 live questions for the tarot, and we'll go over each step of that and the transition into it. So, hi, Sue. If you have a question for the tarot, just be thinking of it now. It's always first come, first serve, and depending on who's in what room of YouTube or Instagram, I try to split between the two or keep it as fair as possible. The questions need to be asked in a way that they can be answered in a yes or no, but whatever else comes through as a channel bit of information with that card, I will pass along. Okay. So 10 is usually about the most we can get in this sitting. Instagram will only host us for an hour. Thank you, Instagram. So sometimes I spend about 10-15 minutes more on YouTube. Also, if you miss it live on Instagram or the full thing, you all can go back and watch it on YouTube at any time. This is why we do it in this setup, so that no matter what your time zone, because my unicorns are all over the world, that it works for everybody, okay? So hi, Shannon. Good morning. All right. I'm going to reach up and grab my tarot deck because I didn't put it down here. So I'm going to reach out of frame, if that's okay with everybody. If y'all want to shout out a little bit of like how the energies are treating you so far. I hear you in the private group. I hear you in my private messages. Okay, so Tuesday is always like a bit of a lightning round kind of thing for us. So as you have comments, as you guys have questions, just post them as we go. Today, Mercury officially, yay, stations retrograde. So remember that when planets station retrograde, they don't actually go backwards. They slow down, they stop. So they appear to be moving backwards in the sky as everything else continues to move forward around them. So this pretty much, heralds the end of everything being direct, which is, it's neither good or bad. I mean, this is kind of the whole bit with astrology. Good morning, Pearl, is that it's not really good or bad. It's always about, whether it's sunny or it's raining outside, what do we need to navigate that? How does that mix with our personal, makeup of astrology? And then how can we work best with that to not feel capsized or just run over by the energies? So Mercury stations retrograde. Today, we get to officially start blaming things on Mercury retrograde. So the basics of it are go slow. If you're traveling, then make sure you plan extra buffer time on both ends for things. Communication gets a little mucky, so just make sure you're editing. Again, going slow. Make sure you put the right email address on that email. Watch your autocorrect. Those kinds of things are happening. So it gets, technology, travel, and communication. The benefit of it happening is like really wonderful, actually. It happens 3 times a year. There's an Instagram post kind of on the basics of this as well as a recap, but it's just a time to reevaluate, rethink, make sure you really mean what you're going to say, think about things that you have already said and go, do I still agree with that? Do I still want to move forward with that? It can get like, don't do this, don't do that, don't buy, electronics, don't travel. No, keep living your life, just with the extra added awareness that when things get a little confused, that you go, oh yeah, that's a reminder to take a breath and to slow down, to anchor in, to calm myself and just keep going, right? So Mercury stations retrograde today. We have been in its shadow for 2 weeks. My personal opinion, if you joined me yesterday and if you've been around for a while, is that the shadow phases are more troublesome than the actual retrograde. So by the time it stations retrograde, I'm like, oh, thank goodness. I get like a little bit of a breath, because as it slows down and it transitions, it's kind of the like squinchy, like, disconnect. Once it like has stationed retrograde, it's kind of like sitting in the lawn chair a little bit, I think. So that's good in my opinion. Tomorrow is our new moon in Pisces. Pisces is something I want to spend some decent amount of time talking about today, because our new moon is in Pisces, right? Your newsletter should be going out tomorrow evening. This one's a little slow poking, but you'll have it. Mercury retrograde is also happening in Pisces. So this is why I'm kind of doing the triple layer cake, because we're not just dealing with the new moon energies in this week. Okay, so you know that new moon and full moon energies, these are the most amplified of the moon cycles. We feel them pretty intensely, highly, about 3 or 4 days before and 3 or 4 days after. It's 2 weeks that we're really working with the new moon energy. And this new moon is like so watery. It's Pisces, it's at 15 degrees. So it's right at this midway point, right? Of like, I don't know anything in this house and I'm reaching mastery. So we're literally at a midway point of transition. Pisces is the most psychic of the chart. It is the wisest of the chart. It is the end of the zodiac. So the zodiac has 12, right? And it starts at Aries and ticks through each sign and ends at Pisces. So Pisces is an ending. This is why in the winter time in the Northern Hemisphere, right? In this, I said, don't start anything. It's not the time to start or launch anything. And I don't even always listen to my good advice, right? Like, it's just not the time. This is a time of compost. This is a time of reflection. This is a time of receiving and meditation and sifting and sorting. So it is a time of endings. Hi. It is a time of endings. All right. And this is good, because you have to end things in order to begin new things. So this time of year is a little intense, especially for my unicorns. If you are a member of UnicornWellness.Studio, you are training with me every day. You are working through the energetic body. You are working through the physical body. You're in meditation and you're in the tarot. So you are living in the energies. This makes us more sensitive to these things constructively, because we can listen and we can hear and we can receive advice and caution in this way. If you're not a member yet and you're here and you all are finding these videos on YouTube, which is such a blessing, and on Instagram, then you're attracted to this probably because you're already really sensitive, right, to things. And you're either too sensitive or you're introverted and you seem like there's a lot of up downs. And so when we get into working with these energies consistently, things start to smooth out. Or because it's wintertime, because it's the end of the zodiac, because it's Pisces and it's endings, we know to just kind of back off a little bit and get our journals and get our mat and get in meditation and just kind of sit and write it out a little bit. Pisces is the oracle of the chart. It is feminine. It is the grandmama poobah that you trek up the mountain to see, or in this case, really, that you dive to the depths of the ocean to get to ask your one question. And she tells you something so weird and off that you're like, what the fuck? And then you go back, and then eventually it makes sense. And it's the key in the unraveling. Okay. So we are in Pisces energy in this new moon, fresh starts and new beginnings. We are in Pisces season, the end of winter in the Northern Hemisphere. We are approaching astrological New Year on March 20th with the spring equinox and with the entrance of Aries energy, okay? So, and we've got a Mercury retrograde in Pisces. So this is like a buildup of all the emo, all the feels, all the sadness and depression and the ennui of just kind of feeling, what does it matter? Like, we feel, because of all this water energy, very, feels a little oppressive. I think those of us with Pisces in prominent places, sun, moon, and rising in our natal chart, we're a little more comfy with this because we're kind of used to it. But what I want you to hear in this new moon is it's fresh starts and new beginnings, right? It's about planting intentions and making wishes. But the more and more that I speak with you all and teach and communicate, the more I see that both the new moon and the full moon have these halvesies to it, that you have to release in order to plant new intentions, even though the full moon is considered release time. Full moon is also what has come to fruition. What have you built? What have you put into play? So again, perfect duality, right? That this new moon, because of all of the Pisces energy, Mercury in retrograde, general Pisces season, and this Pisces new moon, we're being asked to kind of do it all. Like, we're being asked to delve into the depths of our emotional like muck, really, like the dark shadow stuff. What do we really need to upright? What do we need to learn? What's it time to heal? What's it time to let go? Hi, Cynthia, I see you. Then what do we wish for in the new stages of things because of what we've gleaned, released, understood, or let go of, or healed? Okay. Then we have this Mercury retrograde in Pisces. Mercury does not like to swim. In fact, I'm not so certain he knows how to swim. Okay. Hi, you guys. Hi, Jill. Hi, Liz. So Mercury in Pisces is like pissed off. Like, kind of like Mercury likes to run and fly and deliver messages quickly. But the combo of this allows for so much dreamtime messaging, a lot of Reiki connection, of really being gifted with messages or through a reader or a healer or a practitioner. Hi, Charlotte. And it allows for real messaging in your meditation, because Mercury is meant to send messages so that we can quickly and easily understand them. It's in Pisces, in the most psychic, but it's in the depths. So you may have to dig for this. This is why I've been really vocal about you all getting a Reiki treatment, if you can, because having someone else hold that space and dig for those energies for you can bring up remembrances and healings for you in a more in-depth way. So that's what's being offered. Yesterday, I talked about the third component of the astrology right now that's pretty intense. Uranus went into Taurus, right, ending the 7-year cycle. Then it retrograded for a little bit back into its comfy spot, Aries. Well, now it's returning to move forward into Aries, officially ending a 7-year cycle. Uranus is the spell breaker. It is the disruptor. It is electrical current. It's moving into Taurus, which is earthbound. So there is a lot of potential for manifestation and magic here, okay, like of grounding resources. And I don't want to take up all of today with all of this, because we're going to be talking about Uranus for a little while. And this Chiron and Pisces and Aries business, like, we're going to just smooth into that because of the spring equinox, right? But know that Uranus moving into Taurus is earth. It's like, Taurus is earth. And all of this Pisces is water. So we're kind of stuck in the mud, okay? So yesterday, if you missed it, go back and watch on YouTube the weekly tarot, because I talk about the stuck in the mud feeling. Everybody's like, yes, oh my God, yes. Okay, but with this Mercury in Pisces, and Pisces in general, there is so much unknown information. Okay, so the biggest piece of this energetic time period, and I'm putting a little clock on it until about March 20th, when we hit the spring equinox, the true astrological new year. Aries wants to go. Aries is ready. It's springtime. Things are sprouting and coming out of the dirt, right? That this is a complete unknown right now. If you feel like, holy shit, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know which direction I'm going. I know I'm aiming at this, but I haven't heard from this person. I put this feeler out there, nothing came back. And like, I launched this project, nobody signed up for it. Like, then we're all kind of in the same boat, literally. So this is a big piece about surrender and trust and faith in the unknown. Okay, so this is what it's all about right now. So Mercury, Pisces, swimmy, right? All the feels, super emo, can spiral into depression. It's okay to be low and like not knowing and a little like what the hell is going on? Like, does anybody care? Like, it's okay. Like, feel those things out. This is a time to do a lot of shadow work and a lot of digging, which is why I've been calling on you guys to do these Pisces readings. The sale is closed because I only had so many spots for it, and they're totally full. I'm still working on them. But you can always book an appointment, right? For these mother-father wounds, because these are the deepest in this incarnation. And so all of this Pisces deep, dark, like, if you're willing to go there, it offers you answers and clarity and movement forward. And I know I said, like, the unknown. Clarity, not like absolute, here's the total checklist, but like, what is the wound, or what's the best way to move forward towards healing in this next year, right? So it's really, really mucky. It feels heavy, but this time of year always feels this way for the most part, because we're coming in the northern hemisphere out of the winter into spring. So like, snow is melting, the dirt, like, it makes mud, and then it's the lotus. It's got to push its way up and out of the mud to create something new, something fresh, something beautiful. So 2019 is all about the blessings, but it's mostly about our faith in the future and the faith and the capacity to surrender to the unknown in order for things to be new and fresh and to receive blessings more towards the end of spring and next year. So it's not that nothing happens, it's that we're in a true transition point. So it just feels like really weird. Like, it feels heavy and muddy and murky and dirty water. And I've talked a lot about, like, shaking the snow globe periods of time. And yesterday it really, to me, looks like, shaking like a sand globe, like the ocean and the sand. It's all, and you just got to wait for it to settle. So the big messaging in this moon, in this time period through, to March 20th, is that you have to aim on your intention, like whatever intention you're setting in this sitting, right? If you guys have done Witches Work Lesson 4 in this new moon, that you sit in the big picture of it. So if it's a new home or a career that you're trying to manifest, this year or, soon, that aim at abundance, right? This is the big umbrella. So aim at the big things, be unwavering in your intention sitting and intention setting, but understand that the way that you think it may come out is not going to be this, like, Virgo 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, check, check, check. I do think in past cycles and past generations that has been possible. Work and effort and intention always reap a reward. But we are now really transitioning into this higher fifth ascension, this bigger energy, more spiritual aspects of things, more magical aspects of things, real transition and disruptive sets of things, of a balance of technology and tradition, that we can't get too set on how we think it's going to go. Keep the big picture. Keep your aim on it. Have the heart-centered feeling of it. Joy, abundance, expansion, safety, security, love, empowerment, like these bigger aspects. Like, typically when I coach you all through things on an individual level, I want you to be specific about what you want and make your list. Put your order into the universe, but understanding all of this Pisces and Uranus energy, they're going to hear us. They need to hear us, and we have to put our order in. But the way in which that transitions, we have to have faith and to surrender. So surrender, to me, I used to really not get it, like really not get it. I thought it meant give up. And I think a lot of people do. Like, I'm not supposed to do anything. She told me to surrender, so I'm just going to sit here and do nothing. Like, that is not what it's about. Surrendering is faith. And it's about having faith that things will shake out. And it can really be, faith in the cosmos and the divine spirit, faith in the astrology, faith in people, faith in love. If you haven't watched the movie Healing, I know a lot of the members of Unicorn Wellness recommended it. It's been on my list for forever. I didn't watch it for a long time, and then I finally finished it last night. And it's interesting because he's a reverend, he's an ordained reverend, but our church that we loved. It's a spiritual center in LA. He's a part of this movie. So I watched it and I went, of course, I was supposed to be watching this. It's really beautiful, but there's a piece at the end of it. And it talks about science and healing and body and awareness and energetics and how they're proving the things that, the spiritualists and spiritual community, everybody used to think was like totally woo-woo, is like being based in science now and proven. So the point of this is that at the end of the movie, one of the women who's being interviewed and speaking about healing and how it comes about and what causes it, is that we all have faith in something. Whether we are an atheist and we don't believe anything is out there, that's faith in nothing's out there. We on our own. Okay. And if you have faith in certain, I don't want to say dogmas, but dogmas of like criterion, then you have faith, right? If you have faith in prayer or faith in energetics, faith in unicorn wellness, faith in astrology, faith generates things. So this directly correlates to Witch's Work Lesson 4 on YouTube from the session. You can watch it anytime. We're manifesting at all times, whether consciously and aiming at something that we really want, something positive, or our subconscious, running system is focused on the negative. We're worrying about things. We're generating more worry and fear in the world. So we are manifesting. We have faith one way or the other. It's just whether or not we are aware of where we're putting that energy and what comes to fruition in our personal lives because of that, and therefore in our collective lives because of that. So in this time period, I promise this makes sense, in Pisces, when we are literally like, go look at any of the energy forecasts out there on YouTube or any of the astrologers, ain't nobody predicting anything right now. Like, it's the unknown. So when you hit the unknown, just like an explorer, make sure you're packed, make sure you got enough water and enough oxygen in your tank, and make sure you've got an anchor to things. This is what I said yesterday, that you've got that little belt tied around you, whether you're climbing the mountain or you're diving down into the depths of the ocean, which is where we're at right now. You have to have a line to get back. You need to stay connected and grounded on the mat embodiment in meditation, right? You have to have these tangible things, or food and or fuel, but you have to surrender to faith, because I am anchored in practical tactics of meditation, of prayer, of journaling, of spell casting, of tarot, of, movement. Then I have faith in that it's going to shake out for the highest and greatest good, because I have my intentions set on the highest and greatest good. What that path looks like, who knows? On the way down to the depths of the ocean, is Atlantis down there, or is it a family of sharks, or is it like these crazy octopi that you've never seen before, never been discovered before, or is it a crystal cave? So that's the adventure of surrender, of that you have to trust. You have to know that we cannot control things. We are really in a state of non-control in a constructive way, but we are being tested as good stewards of this collective consciousness energy. Can we hold it? Do we have faith in it? Where is our focus? So that's a lot, okay? But this is the general recap of the astrology right now, that this is our new moon ritual, fresh starts, new beginnings, intention setting, wish making, always. But it is a bit bigger and more important in this cycle because we're at the end of the astrological chart in Pisces. So understand that, again, for those who join later, that Pisces is the end of the zodiac. It is the most psychic, it is the oracle, it is feminine, and it's all the emo. It is the ocean, okay? And it's an ending. So in endings, we are wanting, what's the reason? Why did it happen? What am I supposed to learn? Like, just like a movie, like what's the ending, right? In order for fresh starts and new beginnings to happen. So we are being asked to delve into our real deep shadow side, into our mother and father wounds, into what have we learned in the last 7 years, in the last 8 years? How different are we now than we were then? Like, this is really about cathartic endings interpersonally, so that we can burst forth in the springtime when we are supposed to. So understand that winter is an ending, it's a death, right? But it is for good compost, Okay. And then it lifts for the spring to sprout and grow. If you are unwilling to look for the lessons and really look at the self-responsibility and the where's the silver lining? Where's the lemonade here? What did I learn out of it? Then you miss the goods of the ennui, of the depression, of the sadness, of the like feeling like overwhelmed by the feels, right? Because if you go down, 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 down into the ocean and it gets compressed and heavy and it's dark and it's this adventure, when you come up for that air, real air, it's like being reborn, right? And you're like, life is amazing and tangible things are like beautiful. Like, so there's a purpose to the lost feeling to it. It is to get to gratitude and appreciation, but with a new understanding of it. Okay. Okay. So that's the recap or the capping of the astrology. Today, Mercury stations retrograde. Tomorrow is our new moon in Pisces. Thursday, Uranus enters into Taurus officially for the next 7 years. And the Mercury retrograde is happening in Pisces, all the water right now, okay? For UnicornWellness.Studio, the movement patterns, we started a fresh cycle for March, right? So it kind of, the cycles ebb and flow and speak one to the next, but they're all written in response and correlation to the current astrology at play. So it's not that it matches, right? Because balance means that you see one thing and you answer with the other. So it's really about, I mean, it's balance, but duality. So it's so watery in the ethers through March, and it's asking us to go slow, that all of the movement patterns for your workouts and your videos of the day on UnicornWellness.Studio are grounding. Okay, because we need that tether to the earth. And so we're back. I called this series Root Camp. We're not doing a session with it. Hi, you guys. And so root camp is really, again, this is about the hips. This is about the low back. This is about the glutes. This is about the pelvic floor, the strength of the inner thighs. But there's a little extra goodie in there that in March, you're really working with the knees and their connection to the hips. So there's a lot of quad work, but really interesting series. And because of all of this water element, you're going to see a lot of mermaid variations. That was on purpose, you guys. But what do knees have to do with the astrology or the holistic spiritual aspect of this? If you remember in the past as members, when we talk about workouts, knees are your capacity to move forward freely in the world. They are connected to our hamstrings, but this is about like, because if somebody clips you at the knee, right, or you bust your knee, or that ACL goes, like you can't move forward. There's no active ambulatory movement. Knees and hips do a lot of the same thing, the capacity for us to transition forward in the world, but knees specifically have a focus on fathers and grandfathers. So this father wound, because Chiron's moved out of Pisces and into Aries. See all this like Pisces, Aries business that's going on, female, masculine, mother, father balance. Like we're in this really beautiful interplay. So as always on UnicornWellness.Studio, the point is that we're brewing daily magic energetically by working with our bodies and being embodied. We are a spiritual being having a physical experience. But the interesting thing is our soul doesn't know the difference between itself and the body. So we have to take care of the body so that the soul can flourish and balance and open and expand and heal. So this month is about rooting. It's about that root chakra to keep you grounded in all of these fields. It is about the knees and balancing them in a way that I promise most of you have not worked with them in this way before, to allow you to move forward in the spring more steadily and more readily and more confidently. Yeah, I mean, Ashley, come on. The minute I saw your question, I was like, wait a minute. And I had to go back and look at the series because I was like, didn't we just, because you guys, I remember Space-Time Continuum. I'm writing your workouts about a month ahead, and I don't always remember when you guys ask certain questions. I'm like, I have to go back and look at the workouts because my brain's already in the next series of things. But I've said this for like the last 4 months, but the last 4 months of movement series I'm like in love with because they're so magical and sewn in that if you will trust the just press play on the site, I promise there will be transitions in your life. Like, yes, it is about the physical body. Yes, it is about making progress in the physical body and healing and being healthy and balancing. But this is also about brewing your personal magic frequency because I teach to the frequency of love, to get you back to wholeness, but to balance. So the energies that are going on, part of it's channeled information, but part of it's responding to the energies and creating balance out of it. So it's like we didn't want to go into the third eye chakra in this Pisces season. It would have blown us out. We all would have been complete space cadets this month. So this is where like my, not beef, but like with general yoga is that they're not connecting to it energetically. They're teaching you certain things that are not in correlation to what the collective is asking us to do right now. So if you anchor into the astrology with your movement patterns, then you're really brewing something magical, not only in your physical body, but in the energetic, emotional, and intellectual body, right? So this is what, like this month, it's like really yummy. And so you will see more repetition in this series of the knee series in Mermaid, because it's newer for everybody. I've not taught this series before. And it's going to take this kind of like, meh. And even at the end of last month, I mean, we're so like on the cusp of this, of the movements on UnicornWellness.Studio. I'm going to do a little call out. I won't say who it was, but actually I got more than a few of these of like, I didn't like that workout. That was really awkward. That did not flow. And so this idea of like, we're used to things being comfortable and easy. Now we're transitioning into some more strength things, some more masculine based things, some willpower things, and some things that you've never done before. So even in a very conditioned body, those of you who've been with me for 5 years, there are still variations you've never seen or combos of, flow that we haven't put together yet. So that when it's a little bit out of order, your body kind of goes, that wasn't cool because I wasn't very good at that. That wasn't comfortable. Well, welcome to life, right? So part of why we practice on the mat is to get uncomfortable with uncomfortable things. And those places where you go, I didn't like that one. I'm not, this is the importance of just pressing play, because if you all are left to your own devices when it comes to movement patterns, you do what feels good because it feels good. And we want you to do things that feel good because that's confidence building and joy generating, but that's not balance. The true balance and true, right, Belvalita? True balance comes from, and growth and healing comes from pushing yourself past that comfort zone, right? So this is why I don't like you guys to go poking and prodding around in your archives, because you will choose the things you already like. And because you like them, that means your body is strong and good at them. And that means you're actually generating an imbalance because you're continuing to strengthen what's strong and ignore what's weak. So when you come to UnicornWellness.Studio and you just press play, there's a mixture of it. You know there's going to be things that are familiar, that you're good at, that you've gotten good at, that you like. And then there's going to be things you're like, she's a jerk face right now, and asking us to do that. But I'm going to try it because it's important to my growth. And those are always the places where you're uncomfortable. You go, I didn't like that. Well, that's a moment to go, why? And I mean, Liz is being very brave, Street Noise Books, for raising her hand on that one, because she and I had a big old long conversation about it. It's breakthrough. What triggered me? Why didn't I like that? Why was that cranky pants? You know, like there's the moment of opening. There's the moment of healing. There's a moment of learning. That's the goods. So, nothing good happens without being uncomfortable. And this Pisces energy is like, got a lot of us real uncomfortable. Like, what's happening? Where am I? Where am I going? How's this going to shake out? We don't know. Have faith. Surrender. Go get on the mat. Just when you don't know, don't make any big moves, right? There's a lot of us that have some big moves on the table right now. If they've already been in play, keep going with them because you don't know how they're going to shake out. But if you're like, really like, I don't have a plan right now, don't try to force a plan. Like, just don't. Just keep doing the day-to-day right now of grounding techniques. Okay, so that we have enough time. Wait, I'm looking at comments here, you guys. So if you have stuff to say it. Yes, Jill, this is totally heroes and villains from the superhero series. So, and this is why this is why I teach. This is why I think it's really important. I want everybody and their mother literally on the mat at UnicornWellness.Studio, because people are moving wrong. Like if they hire a personal trainer, you're in good hands, right? You have somebody cycling you and asking you to do things you don't particularly like to do that get you stronger, and they're training to the imbalance, right? But you feel supported, and you're like, well, they're standing right in front of me. I can't really say no to it. So on UnicornWellness.Studio, it is shaped like personal training. If you just show up and press play, there's, spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down, so to speak, of the things that you like and are used to doing versus the things you really dislike and don't do. And that's why sometimes it's hard to explain what I teach as movement patterns. It's rooted in Pilates because that's safest for the body. But there's so much functional movement. There are lifting techniques in there and so much yoga, right, as we bridge these energetic fields. But the way that they're connected and being layered together is very different than is happening anyplace else. There's nobody else teaching like this in movement patterns. So it's really exactly like the heroes and villains. You need the things you don't like in movement because it helps balance things out. So in life, sometimes we need to go through the things we don't like in order to help balance us out, our understanding, our learning, our challenges, right? Okay. So I'm plugging my computer, and I thought it was plugged in, but that was off. Hang on, you guys, because, Mercury retrograde and stuff. I don't want the computer to die. All right, we're going to transition into unicorn bingo. How's that for transition? Okay, there we go. Full battery. So add your comments about all of the astrology. Take a breath. I'm going to have a sip of tea. If you have your natal astrological chart, grab it. If you don't, just take some notes or come back to the YouTube video and with your chart later on. In the newsletter from Unicorn Wellness as a member, it has steps on how to pull your own chart. I work from a whole house sign chart. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. If you want my help on it, you're going to have to pull a whole house sign chart, okay? I'm not taking specific questions about individual charts on new moon rituals. This is about general. So I'm going to talk you through the houses of the astrological chart. If you have your chart, you want to see what house Pisces falls in, because this new moon is in Pisces. Depending on which house Pisces is in your chart, this points, this is like the little arrow on the compass, to the direction that your healing, that your lessons, and your blessings are going to show up in for the most part. Like, this is where it's going to be loudest. That's okay, Brandon. So this will be your first, go through just listening. And I always say that listening with fuzzy ears is always really important, that you just take in the information, and I kind of go through it lightning fast so that we can get to the tarot readings. But as we go through, I have a couple of houses circled that I feel like if Pisces falls in these particular houses, it may be a little bit of rough water for you, or just, it's like, oh, just kind of extra grounding, because it could be pretty intense, okay? So in the astrological birth chart, everyone has all 12 elements of the zodiac. All 12 signs are in our charts. The astrological natal chart is dependent upon your time of birth, okay? And then that tells where it sits in your chart, okay? When you have your chart, it's a big circle, and it has little pie pieces, little triangles, and inside those pie pieces, there are numbers. That is the house that it sits in, okay? So again, if you guys, oh, I'm seeing comments already. Yeah, exactly, Chris. That's excellent advice. Like, sometimes just listening just illuminates some things, and it's okay. And again, listen with fuzzy ears. It's not necessary. We do this pretty lightning fast in this one because we just don't have that much time. So here we go. If Pisces falls in your first house is the I am. Who am I? Identity. So there could be a little bit of an identity crisis happening right now if Pisces is in your first house. Pisces will be in your first house in a whole house sign chart if it is your ascendant, your rising sign, okay? So if it's in your first house, I actually think that if it's your rising sign, things are pretty comfy. Like, you kind of are used to being a little extra emo and feely and psychic, and it's like feeling a little more comfortable as to who you are. However, I do think it could be a bit of an identity shift. Who are you? Who does the world see you as? Like, who do you want to be? Are you ready to change it? Like, have you been sitting on the precipice of change? It's just time now. It is not in my first house, but I'm feeling a little bit of this, like in really silly ways. Like, I need new business cards. What is that actually going to read like this time around? You know, like, what are the titles? Who am I? What am I handing this to people for? So think about it in terms of that. It doesn't have to be epic, but who am I? Okay. If Pisces is in your second house, this has to do with how you gather your goods, food, water, shelter. I always think second house is kind of interesting in water signs because this would mean that you're really psychic and very feeling about how you get things done, that you don't really do lists and you don't really do a ton of research. You have to sit and feel how things need to happen. So I also think this can be a high manifesting person. So if it's in your second house, food, water, shelter, the way you get your goods, this could be connected to job, career, but it's not typically. It's like the day-to-day stuff. There just may be a shift to more meditation. And maybe take up swimming. I mean, I'm being really serious here. And maybe you need more Epsom salt baths daily, at least in this cycle. So I think 2 is a little more gentle if you've got it in your second house. If Pisces is in your third house, this is the house of how do I connect to the outside world? How do I connect to my community? Okay. And again, this could just be like, maybe you need to swim in between different groups. Maybe you need to spend less time with one group and more with another. And maybe it's like, you know, if you tend to be a very community-based person, you may need more introspective time. Or if you've been real introverted for an extended period of time, you may need to go seek some community to connect with, like-minded, again, in this spiritual capacity, because Pisces is so feeling that they need to feel like they are surrounded by those who get them emotionally and empathically. So this might be connecting with community, and I think this is a softer house for all of these energies. If Pisces is in your fourth house, little red flag, whoop, whoop. I think this is going to be an intense one for you all. And somebody already said that. Oh, wait, who else? 2 people said it. I see Shauna. I see Sue. Okay, so maybe that was it. Fourth house is the house of home and family. So it is also at a soul level, your sense of safety in the world. So this could brew real feelings of fear and not safe and secure because of all these unknown waters right now. So I put a big old circle on the fourth house. If Pisces is in your fourth house, it's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be uncomfortable and maybe a little scary, like fear-based stuff just really creeping in. I want you to work with that visualization of the ocean and all the beautiful things of the ocean and the unknown as an adventure rather than the unknown as like the scary big monster that's going to eat me when I like and not make it back up to the top, right? So family is like, if Pisces in your fourth house, this is typically the type of family you grew up in. No boundaries, really emotional, could be chaotic, and not specific, not a lot of boundaries. If fourth house in relationship to yourself is your sense of safety in the world as a person, okay? And so this means you need some boundaries. Hi, Maria. This means you want to create more time alone and understand that you need to learn how to wear a wetsuit in the ocean, how to be in the ocean, but that you're not the ocean, so to speak. So this is a lot about boundary setting emotionally and about spiritual cleansing because empaths, their sense of safety in the world, we can be high anxiety, high depression, and highly introverted because when we go out into the world, that Pisces energy like sucks onto us. So then we feel really run down. So this is also, if it's in your fourth house, work your Epsom salt baths. Those are auric and energetic cleansers. Work your smudging big time. Wear some selenite. Like you need to energetically cleanse a lot in this time period. Yeah, so this is your sense of safety in the world. So understand if it's brewing fear for you right now, if Pisces is in your fourth house, security, could deal with finances, that you've got to anchor into your grounding techniques of meditation and on the mat, but in particular, your cleansing and clearing techniques energetically. Okay. Fifth house. Fifth house is the house of creativity. This is, what do you make in the world? What do you create? What do you put out in the world? This can be literal children. This can be works of art. This can be businesses. The fifth house also has to do with your capacity to play, your inner child. But interesting and really layer caked is it also has to do with your shadow self. So again, the fifth house is like one of those half and halves. It could be delightful right now. Pisces is in your fifth house because it's so watery. You could be feeling so creative and so connected, and you just want to make all the things. And you have all of these ideas. Make sure that you're writing the ideas down, because Pisces downfalls all the ideas and then they don't amount to anything because there's no grounding and it just washes away with the tide. If it's the dark shadow self, then just delve and ask and ask and ask and ask and get into the readings, get into the question asking to get specifics. If it's in your fifth house right now, there's a lot of healing for Pisces in the fifth house. So it could be really yummy. It could be really intense. This is like a 50-50. Sixth house, how do I love? How do I help? How do I give love? How do I show up in the world to make it a better place? I think this is a yummy one right now. I think Pisces in the sixth house right now is honestly, if you just show up. Like if you show up, you need to be present for the things that you want to support. This is totally self-aggrandizing and like interest, but share the things that you love with people. Tell the people that you love them. Just show up, donate your time, go to lunch with a friend. Do you know what I mean? Like this is about showing up in this time period. Don't hide. So if you've got Pisces in the sixth house, less introverted time, more real connecting, more real communicating about what you love and what helps you. Oh, good, you guys. Okay, so seventh house Pisces. If you have Pisces in the seventh house, which I think I saw somebody say they did, this is about relationships. How do you deal with others? Okay, so the first house is, like how do I deal with myself? This is how you deal with others. So if you have Pisces in the seventh house, I think this is like a whoop whoop. This could be kind of intense because you typically are so loving, but like involved with people. Like you can't tell where their feelings end and yours begin, and that it's like all of the feels for them and it's very tumultuous. I think this is very much like the fourth house about really setting boundaries. I do think if you have Pisces in the seventh house that you're going to have some relationships that need to go. Done. They take up too much energetically. Either they're emotionally vampiric, energetically vampiric, or they just stuck around too long. Like it's time to go. Okay. So I think if you've got it in the seventh house, this could be kind of an intense period of time, but the shakeout's going to be great. It's going to feel super snow globy to you, or like ocean globe with the sand. And that if you can really, put up some boundaries, tell people what doesn't work, protect yourself, get these it's like low hanging fruit and like weird weights hanging off of you guys. I see like weird little weights, like cut them loose. Then you're going to be in a really great place for the spring and for burgeoning and bursting forth. Eighth house. If Pisces is in your eighth house, the eighth house is the house of death and sex. This is about clearing, because both of these are clearing patterns, right? Like death, you are clearing and transitioning to another level, and sex is often called a little death, right? A climax, because you have that moment of where am I bliss, and not in your body, but not out of your body. So this is about clearing, and I underlined it and I wrote it real big. This is about surrender. If you have Pisces in the eighth house, I'm going to raise my hand. There's all kinds of magic here in general in your natal chart. But this is about surrender. This is like you can't control it. You're going to have to release to it. You're going to have faith. And your meditation is going to have to take like a major step up and some energetic clearing of like Reiki or shamanic healing, like something. Because you're really going to have to go, I have no idea where I'm going. I don't know what this feels like. I can't feel anything right now. Actually, this is kind of what this comes through as, is it's so loud in the water with Pisces here that you can't hear anything. And Pisces are usually high impact clairsentience, that we feel things. So it's almost like you are feeling so much, can't feel anything. So it's like this weird numbing effect. So you're just going to have to keep your eyes on the intention and surrender with faith. So I said yesterday that part of this energy is like, floating on the water. Like in the Dead Sea or the Mediterranean Ocean, there's so much salt, so, salinity to it that you float, that this is just about floating. But have your little security belt that's anchored to the shore. There's a lot, I think, in this house. I don't think it's extra challenging. I just think there's a lot of magic offered in the 8th house. So ninth house. Ninth house is the house of connecting on the inside to spirit. How do you connect to yourself? There's a softness here, and I think this is an easier one at this time period. This is meditation, whatever kinds of meditation call to you. Like seated, guided, moving meditation, get on the damn mat, like whatever keeps you connected to spirit, you need to amplify that and do a lot of it in this period, like a lot, more than normal, okay? There you go. Okay. Then if Pisces is in your 10th house is the house of empowerment, usually has a lot to do with career. How do you step into your power? I think this is an easier one too. I think this might illuminate some more psychic gifts in this house, empathic nature, that your gifts, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance, they just kind of start to solidify, and that you have to learn to trust them. And this is a practicing trust. This came up in a private yesterday, that this period of time for them was really about meditation and practicing their what they hear, like trusting what they hear in messaging, and really going, oh, no, I didn't make that up. Okay, yeah, I heard that multiple times. There was confirmation here, and here. So if it's in the 10th house, I think this is about confirming how you receive messaging and really working with that. 11th house is the house of network and friendships. This sometimes it's called the house of bliss. Also, there's some discrepancy here. So this is usually like how, in this house of like how many people in your network it really is capable. Some people have Venus, like in Gemini here. And that means they're going to know a lot of people in a lot of places and be able to talk to a lot of people, and there'll be a lot of love connected in that. Some people got Capricorn there. And that's like, I got like 3 people that I trust, and it's not super lovely, but that's my tribe and that's my network. So if Pisces is in your 11th house, you can swim between all kinds of communities. But there's also the swimming between the 11th and 12th house have a lot of similarities in my mind, that you swim between the worlds and you get more comfortable with that, of like receiving messaging from past lives, and from channels and from ascended masters. So, or it's just, again, this common to the 3rd house of, similar to the 3rd house of connecting with like-minded communities that are more spiritually magic, energetically based. So it's a kind of a fun one in this one, I think. 12th house is the house of the unseen. This is about dream time. So this is going to mean that your blessings and your lessons are going to come a lot through your dream time messaging. And the unseen is like death and those on the other side. So this just has a lot to do with ghosts and dream time in my perspective of it. So this could be a big one, and a little bit of tumultuous. This is my 3rd whoop whoop, like a little bit of red flags of that this season could be a little bit more challenging, because it's unseen and unknown. So if you have Pisces in the 12th house, this also signals high psychic capacities, but you may be coming into gifts that you are not comfortable with or familiar with, or feel like you're hearing things, or your dreams get real weird, and you're just like, it's just a weird transition. So again, this is a call to trusting it and standing in the light, making sure that you're setting boundaries and prayers and asking for protection, and that you stand on the side of the light, because there's some, I don't go too far down the rabbit hole today. In the 12th house, it can get a little dark. So just make sure that you're surrounding yourself with things that raise your vibration. Okay? That was the lightning round. All right, so that is your unicorn bingo. If Pisces sits in those houses for you. If you're on Instagram, I don't know how many more minutes it's going to give us. So I'm going to go with questions on Instagram first, and then take a little bit more time on YouTube afterwards, as we always do. And most of you are on YouTube today. Okay. So we head into like no transition tarot readings. Okay. So why don't I try to get 2 or 3 from Instagram first before it closes off? make sure that you type your question in, first come, first serve, in a way that can be answered yes or no. And if there's additional information to it, I will share that with you as we go. Okay. And then YouTube, you guys can start typing your questions into. I'm just going to start with Instagram. And if nobody types anything in there, then we'll go straight to YouTube. Okay. So I'll take as many as we can, up to 10. If you all miss your opportunity at the tarot readings right now, then go ahead and you can book anytime. And I do single card readings that are like super quick and super cost effective over at tandygutierrez.com. So you just book over there, send me your question, and then I record it and send it along to you in email in a video format, an audio format, and then take a photograph of your card layouts for you to keep. Okay. So here we go. So Instagram, what do we got? Jill, will you be accepted to your top school choice? Jill, mama, you want to know. I'm not seeing so much surrender there. Okay, will you be accepted into your top school of choice? So, okay. This is a yes, all right? And I looked at it in a funny way. So I'm going to show it on Instagram more closely. I'm just showing it to YouTube now. This is 5 of Cups, okay? 5 of Cups is a little bit of, it's a little bit of depression, honestly. It's a little bit of sadness. And you go, why did I just say yes if there's sadness? Because 5 is change. There's a yes to it because you're surrendering to it. But there's a sadness in it. And I don't know what that means, Jill. So there's a yes. I heard yes when I pulled it out. But there is some, like, maybe you're rethinking what I think you may be supposed to rethink what your top school is. That yes, you will be accepted to the top school. But I kind of see this list that needs to be rearranged. That you need to go back and look at how you chose what you chose. Okay, that is the weirdest answer of all time. But that's what I hear, is that you will be accepted to your top school of choice, but that you need to go back and look at the schools that you applied to, and that you may need some rearranging in the order of them. That the order that you have right now, it's a no, but you need to go back and look at why you looked at what you did. Because it's like this surrender to something. 5 of Cups is about acknowledging what you have, not losing, energy over spilled milk. Like, don't cry over spilled milk, just go clean it up. There's something that's like off in the energy right now. And I think you put the wrong one at the top of the list. I hear yes to that. Big time. You need to reorder your list. So like, you made the list, you sent your applications, you will get accepted to the top choice, but you're supposed to go back and reorder the list. There's a bit of surrender here and trusting that what you thought is not the case, and you need to go look at it with some fresh eyes. I think this has to do with it, Jill, of like, you got the wrong one at the top of the list. That's all. Okay, so there you go. Okay, let's go back to, I'm sorry to reach my arm across YouTube. Ashley, should you buy an investment condo this year? Hi, Juan. I see you hopped in for that question. Okay, let's see. Should you buy an investment condo this year, 2019? Okay, that's a no. All right, so this is the Fool, which sometimes can denote taking the leap, right? But sometimes the Fool is like, don't be foolish. And that's what I hear in this, that there's nothing in it right now, that there's nothing really to work with right now, Ashley, so that's a no. So again, the Fool can denote taking a leap of faith and like, oh, but what if I fly? This is one of those like, big old goose egg, do not do it right now. There's nothing in it, don't be foolish. This is not the set point you need to be working with. That's a distraction. That's a distraction. You need to go back to the things that you're building. Be loud with you, mama. Bossy. Okay? Okay. All right, let's see if I can get one more in from Instagram, if there is one more before it cuts us out. And if you want to try. Okay, Ashley. If anybody else on Instagram wants to type really fast, I think I can get one more in before it shuts off because it hasn't given me the countdown clock. And then I will transition over to YouTube and stay longer on YouTube to get through some. If there's no more questions on Instagram, thank you for joining me. This will stay here for 24 hours. Share it with your friends. If you didn't get to see the beginning of it, you can go back and watch it on YouTube anytime because it'll be there in perpetuity. I'm glad you asked too, Ashley. And if you all want to book a private session with me, a private reading, TandyGutierrez.com. And if you are not yet a member of UnicornWellness.Studio, then there'll be a link in the bio on YouTube and a code for 30 days free on the site. So come give it a shot, okay? Maria, you're going to have to phrase it in a way that it can be answered yes or no. So they have to be pretty clear, is this going to happen, yes or no, for the single card pulls, okay? But if you can type real fast, then I can get to it. Okay, it's got 28 seconds remaining on Instagram. Maria, if you can maybe join us over on YouTube and share over there because I can take all the time we need or want on YouTube. Okay, there's things falling out, but I'm going to head over to that feed and start with those questions. So thank you all for joining me today. Happy new moon. Maria, will I buy a home this year? Let's see if we can do it with 2 seconds remaining. 3 of Pentacles. And so Maria, I know you'll come find it over here. This is 3 of Pentacles. This is a call out. This isn't a yes or no question. So Maria asked if she's going to buy a house this year. Pentacles are the earth element. It's finances and abundance, but 3 is about creativity. This card, I love this card in this deck because it's Alice in Wonderland. Who are you? It depends on who you're becoming. If you want to buy a house, then you can and you will. And if you are somebody who are I don't want to be tied down and I don't want to really fix everything and I want these resources to go into something else, then you won't. 3 of Pentacles is about creativity, but it's also about longevity. So there could be more of a yes here for a home than no, but you need to sit down and really think about who you are, who you're becoming, and who you want to be in the world. And that's going to let you know where to put your resources, whether it's in a home or not. I hear more of a yes than a no, but you need to decide what kind of lifestyle you want. Do you want to be transient and not totally tied down, or do you want real roots somewhere? And I hear yes, then it's a yes. But you need to sit down and really sift through who you are. I keep hearing that. Okay? Okay, so then on to YouTube. Okay, let's go ahead and hit that one. So many questions. Chris. Okay, so here we go. Are you ready to stop seeing Vanessa? Well, that one just fell out. Again, so this is, who are you? Who do you want to be? This is the essence of your soul. You were creating someone new within yourself. So your soul is evolving. There is repetition and mastery that's necessary for it. So you need to decide who you are and if she fits into it. So I hear, yes, that you are ready to stop seeing her. That's a yes. Okay, because you're getting more into who you are at its essence, at its soul, and then certain people don't fit within that frame anymore, or they don't welcome it. I hear that it's not welcome. Okay, Lee, what you got? Is it serving your highest and greatest good, focusing on the future of your business instead of exploring where you are right now? That's a long question. But it's clear. Is it serving your highest and greatest good to focus on the future of your business instead of exploring where you are right now? Okay, let's go with, is it serving your highest and greatest good to focus on your business right now? So Lee, this is for you. Okay, that's a yes. That's a loud yes. That's a 10 of Pentacles. So 10 of Pentacles is the banker in most of the decks. In this deck, it's so fun because she's hopping off the carousel. So the carousel of life, right? A little Joni Mitchell for you today. That, karma is cyclical. right? And so it's like, ugh, one more go around till you get it right. One more go around. Well, it's showing the release and the jump off of there. So that's good. Like that's blessings, that's abundance, that's like getting released from the cycle of it's like no more rat race. Like that's a yes. That's a yes, Lee. Okay. And then Thelmalita. Thelmalita, you gotta tell me which one. Will you have enough money for the trail before I leave? Or will Gregory redo my reading? Well, there's a card for you. Okay, Thelmalita, here's the card I got. I'm going to try to make sense of it. Okay, good. All right, Six of Swords. This is about leaving places that no longer serve you. This is about emotional immaturity, immature habits that you're leaving them behind. So this is a yes, that you will have the money that you need before you leave, but it's also about understanding the emotional immaturity that's connected to it, this panic, instead of planning. Like, how are the ways that you can, earn extra income? How can you bolster the hatches so it's not left up to the ethers or the gods, that you just go out and do it before you go? So it's a yes, but there's also this call of transition from immaturity to maturity about how you handle it. It's about how you handle it. I get this kind of frenetic, like, level up here, like you need to get grounded, you need to go pick up some extra shifts or things, and you just need to plan to have enough money. Like, you just need to work it out. Yep. Okay. Shauna. Okay, made the transition from salary to commission. I'm trusting the money will come eventually. Question, will there be enough income in March to be safe? Food, water, shelter. Okay. I don't like that question, Shauna, but I'm going to ask it. I'm going to tell you I don't like it because I'm going to tell you your answer right now is trust and surrender. So you're not trusting the universe in these transitions. Like, if you're listening to I'm not trying to be, I know you well, so I get to say these things. If you're listening to the guidance, this is, I hear that it's a test for you this month. They're testing your trust and surrender, and it's going to end up in fear and panic, because that's where the focus is going, is fear and panic. And this is a real bit of manifestation and trust happening here. And that you are going to generate one or the other in your faith and your surrender. But let's pull this out. Yeah, I mean, this is Eight of Wands, okay? So Wands is about bravery and courageousness. She's sitting in meditation, throwing her feelers out into the ethers, right? This is her, like, making magic and co-creatorship. 8 is the number of empowerment. So there's a real peacefulness when you anchor and trust and have faith. It doesn't mean you don't go to work, you don't hustle, and that you don't really work, but your focus is in the wrong place. That it's expanding the negativity and the fear and the imbalance, which is going to lead you down a path of not having enough this month. So if you can learn in this month to surrender and to anchor into meditation, I mean, literally what I said at the beginning of the hour, then you will manifest. You're a high manifester, Shauna. Like, we know this, like, you're magic, but you don't trust the magic just yet. So this is like a test of faith of, are you willing to trust it in connection with the work and effort you're putting towards it? You've got to get your head straight and focused on the right thing. You will manifest one or the other. Wherever most of your energy is, that's what's going to come to fruition. This isn't for everybody. Like, but Shauna, this is like a test. I hear that March is a test time for you in your manifestation and your trust in the cosmos and in co-creatorship. Okay. Okay, let's look. Okay. Well, if anybody else is here and has questions to ask, I'll take like 2 more as we finish up for today. Brandon. Okay, you're selling all your stuff and trying to fund your move to Colorado. Will I be able to fund my move by this? Do you want to add a certain, okay. Will you fund your move by selling your stuff? Shauna, I know it's a hard lesson, and which is why I'm driving a little bit harder at it, because you and I've worked together privately. So I just feel like, but what I totally hear for you, Shauna, is that March is a test for you. And the test doesn't have to be mean. Like, you just need to work both ends of things. You need to work your meditation and your manifestation, your intention setting. You just got to spend time. You don't even meditate. Just spend time focusing on what you want, and your trust of the universe, that with the effort you're putting in, the universe has your back, that it will come through, along with the work and the effort. Like, it's not a do nothing, it's a do both. Okay. So Brandon, I'm going to do your question, and then Charlotte, I will do yours. Those will be the last two. Okay, so Brandon, let's work with, can you fund the move solely on selling your stuff? Yes, Thelma Lita, yours is the same as Shauna, and I'm going to tell you that a lot of the unicorns, we're all in the same boat here, because we're in this transition phase for the spring. We are being called to surrender and trust, and mostly when it comes to abundance. Okay, we have to let go of that 3D business. Brandon, oh my Lord, this card. You guys see how much I'm shuffling, don't you? And these are single card pulls. So Brandon, yours is also the 3 of Pentacles. So this is, okay. There is a yes here. I just hear yes, that you can fund it by selling things. You really, again, this goes back to repetition and mastery, that you may need to, I hear that you may need to sell more things than you think, and that you really need to have this source of, you're doing it. It's the source of whimsy and following your white rabbit, that you're getting down to who you are. I hear a bit about minimalism and a real care for the environment, that by selling like almost everything, you get down to this minimalist lifestyle that funds this, but you feel very free from it. And you're like, wow, I didn't even need all of that stuff. So there's a bit of who are you in a different way. Like, you're becoming who you are by letting these things go. And that's just a yes. It's just a yes. I mean, that was just smoother and clearer, but it's funny. This card's really, really abundant today. Let's look. I'm like this. I should put my glasses on, you guys. Okay. Well, Brandon, there you go. I mean, you've really hopped in. You were very energetically connected. So just keep following the signs and the symbols, like this release of things. You're going to see how many things you don't need. It's a really fascinating experience. We've done it as a family when we traveled, and then we get back and settled, and all of a sudden there's all this extra stuff, and it's like, we don't really need this stuff, you know? So yes, you can fund it, because I actually think you're going to sell more than you intended to. I mean, like, I see like a backpack and a duffel bag kind of thing. I mean, I don't know, but there's that. Okay, Charlotte, let me go back to your question. Charlotte's will be the last one that I answer for today, and then let me look through the comments, and then we'll wrap it up here. Oh, I'm so glad, Brandon. Sending all the love your way. Okay, so Charlotte, should you quit trying to find a house and buy a camper van? Oh my God, Charlotte, I love this question. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. Should you quit trying to find a house and buy a camper van? I'm going to try to not let my excitement get in the way of this. Okay. Okay. What are you? Okay. All right. I hear yes in this, but I think you need to have a little sit down with yourself first. So this is 9 of Wands, right? 9 of Wands, this is the one that looks creepy and scary. Like, it would look creepy and scary to not have a home anchored and tethered someplace, right? But 9 of Wands is karmic closures and endings and cycles. I think this deck and this card is like the most Pisces, even though it's fire, because it's like all this blue and unknown and unseen and like kind of Loch Ness monstery salamander thing happening. But this came up, was it this week or last week's weekly tarot? You'll have everything you need when you need it. And that comes through that's a yes on the camper van. Like, just do it. Like, you'll have what you need when you need it, kind of thing. And it's an adventure, and it's a little unseen and unknown. And like, but remember, this card calls you to just not do anything about it just yet, to really sit with it and really contemplate it. So don't buy anything until after March the 20th. Just sit and let this brew. Think about it. Like the messages, the signs, and the symbols and omens will come when they're ready. But it is a karmic closure. It would be a fresh start and a new beginning. It's so fun, and I hear it doesn't have to be forever. And cozy, like encapsulated. So just don't do anything yet. I hear yes, but you're supposed to sit on it through this Pisces season bit of things. I mean, Mercury doesn't really get out of shadow and station retrograde, I think, until like April 16th. So like I think this is a beautiful idea. The answer is yes, but sit on it. Don't do it yet. Okay, because it'll take time to find the right one. You and your honey really need to think about this. You would need to map like where you're going, where to stay. Like you don't want to buy it and then like not have a plan. Okay, all right. I'm scrolling down. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah. Lee, it's so true. You get some pentacles and you get some pentacles. Well, this is the thing though, is that it's all this watery, unknown energy. But I think last month I said too, like the feeling of it that I'm getting is that it's really abundant and it is about financial transition. I mean, Uranus into Taurus. Taurus is money. So if you missed yesterday's weekly tarot, like go watch it. This is the capacity to break the spell, the rule breaker, the disruptor when it comes to finances. And all I hear is that that's constructive and good. So this is like, sell your stuff, get a camper, like just go have the life you want, please. Because all of these lives that we're hearing about right now, these transitions are about minimizing. That's good for the planet and for us. And there's a lot about the call to water healing and Mother Earth and how we live and how we treat the planet and this relationship between the two. So there you go. I'm going to look through the comments and then we're going to close out for today because it's 11:16. So we've spent some extra time, which I'm always happy to do. I'm traveling tomorrow, but I do want to have some more lives for you this week. I'd like to spend one more live on a little more in depth with the Pisces endings and beginnings and Chiron and Mercury a little more in depth, so that we can ask questions and kind of talk through it. But I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Tuesday is my favorite day. What do we got? I think it would be so fun, Charlotte. I mean, like when you asked it, I was like, oh my God, it was like delight energy. And then the cards, the same thing. It just seems delightful, but just go slow and just really enjoy it. Oh, good. Oh, Brandon, you're just so welcome. I appreciate you being here. I love you, Lee. I love it. Lee, where are you in the world right now? We had Maria who's in Greece. And where are you now? Everybody's all scattered all over. Charlotte, you're in the UK, right? I love you guys. So anyhow, new moon ritual is always so fun because we get to do the card readings. You can book any time with me. If you want me to do your natal chart, the Simple Stars reading, that's an option on TandyGutierrez.com. Also, if I do your chart, then you have the chart to keep to play Unicorn Bingo with us each month. So that's kind of awesome. And oh, Mama, this is it's like I always say an hour and then it's an hour and 20 and then I have to go do some other things now. But I'm glad you're here, but you fit right into the category of moving and selling and transitioning and all kinds of exciting things. So I'm going to close this out. I hope you all will come find me on UnicornWellness.Studio and become a member there if you're not already. For those of you who are members, make sure to book your appointments, your one-on-ones for things that either you didn't get to ask here, because I do single card readings also. It doesn't have to be pricey to book a reading with me. But it's always a good time to ask. But right now is like heavy messaging, deep healing. And so I encourage it in this time period before the spring equinox, because I just think there's so much for healing right now that if you've never had a reading, like just give it a whirl. If you hate it, don't ever do it again, and if you find it helpful, then just value that, right? Okay. So if you all can like this video, it's super helpful. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, click the bell, because it'll tell you when I go live, and I am trying to do more lives this year. And share it, please, please, please. Share what you love. It's really helpful, and I really appreciate it. I love you all so much. Happy Mercury retrograde, happy new moon, and happy Uranus in Taurus on Thursday. I will see you all soon. Bye.